Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we've got a 2014 Honda Ridgeline. Customer's concern is that there is a humming type noise slash vibration anytime that the air conditioning is on. So let's get to it. So I don't know how well this translates on camera, but you can see this radiator shaking. The fan just cut off. But when the fan was running, it seems like this fan has some play in it. Let's compare that to this one. That one looks pretty good. So I think we have a bad fan motor on this passenger side here. So there's a fair bit of play in this motor here. Or maybe it could be that the fan itself is actually wearing out in the middle. Our other fan, it has a tiny bit of play, but a little bit of play is normal. This I would deem to be excessive. So let's get this thing apart and see what we can figure out here. So we're going to start at the bottom.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Luckily, Honda still has two fan shrouds on the left and the right. We're dealing with the passenger side right now. We're going to get this thing probably not all the way down, just enough to get up to the two bolts. They're 10mm bolts, but these are just little push pins that we're going to destroy. Yep. So the irony is that you can't really see them all that well at the bottom. You can see them from the top, but you can't really get to them from the top, or at least we can't. You can't really see them from the bottom, but you can get to them. So this is the far right side, the far passenger side. If you just look over, the engine mount stuff's in the way of the camera, but if you kind of look over on this side, right up here, I don't know what you can see, but right here is the other one. Anyway, we'll get those two 10mm out. So before we get taking the upper two off, we'll go ahead and get our connectors off. There's one connector over here for the actual fan, and then a couple of little Christmas tree type clips. That'll be good enough. We'll get this radiator overflow out of the way. We'll get the two tins off the top. So to look at it, I don't know how well you can see it.
I'll show you.
This is definitely a motor problem. The whole shaft and everything is moving with the blade. So we have a bad motor. To get this fan off, this nut is an 8. So before we get the motor out, we're going to take this, we're going to flip it over and take this shroud off because we're going to have to deal with this wiring harness. Usually, these 3 bolts and the 3 bolts on the motor are extremely tight. So get a good Phillips head screwdriver, or also just be prepared to maybe have to put like a pair of vice grips on it or something, because these things are usually really, really tight. So as you saw, I was only able to get one out the traditional way. So before these are too mutilated up to be able to reuse again, we're just going to go to the back side of it. And you're basically tightening it from this side. Now you can flip it back over and go where we were before. Before we damage the other ones, we'll go ahead and do the same strategy with the motor ones. All right, we got our new motor here. Just remember that you want your harness to go in line with where your little connector part for the harness goes. Redneck thread chaser right there. If you use the same bolt to rethread a hole that you cross-threaded in the front from the rear, you might be a redneck. We'll go ahead and get our harness ran back where it's supposed to go. We'll put our, this is a new fan, so we'll get ready to put it on. It fits, it lines up. It's whatever that shape is right there. There's a male version of that down there. So we'll get that lined up. All right, we'll get ready to go back in with this thing. Make sure you gouge as many of the radiator fins as you can as you're going back in with it. Just get these two top ones started by hand because we'll probably have to wobble it around a little bit at the bottom. And get our connectors back in. Oh, that was that one. All right, let's get back underneath it. So we got our two bottom ones tight. You really couldn't see anything. It's really hard to film up that angle. But we'll come back and get our two top ones tight. And we also stuck two new pins for that plastic shroud or whatever it was down there while we were there. But now, nothing left to do but to, we also, I think I did this off camera. I ran this overflow back where it's supposed to go. Let's check and see if it's fixed. So as you can see, our radiator's not shaking all around like it used to. Everything seems to be totally good. Fan's blowing the right direction. That's another thing I meant to say. Check your fan orientation. Sometimes they'll give you, some cars have pusher and puller fans, so this would be technically a puller fan, so make sure that your fans are in the right direction. But other than that, I think this one's done. Well guys, that's all there is to it. This was a very simple job to do. You could easily do it in the driveway at your house with just basic hand tools and a little bit of diagnostic skills. But anyway, hopefully we earned a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
I've tried that before and I've just messed up more.
You messed up the threads in the front and the back.
Yeah.